Assalamualaikum and good morning. Today I will continue our lesson for another type of adjustment, that is prepaid expenses. What is prepaid expenses? Prepaid expenses is a type of adjustment which the company recorded the cash payment as an asset to show the service or benefit that the company will receive in the future. Prepaid expenses often occur in regards to insurance, supplies, advertising, and rents. There are two types of prepaid expenses. They are expire either the passage of time or through use. So for today, I will discuss for the first type of prepaid expenses, which is expire due to the passage of time. For this kind of prepaid expenses, it is usually used for the expense for insurance, advertising, and rents. Now we look at these illustrations. So, for the cash payments transactions, the company could record either as an asset or expense. So, for the general entry, the record could be debit assets or expense and credit as cash or bank accounts. This transaction will reflect the accounts on trial balance. Either the company record as an asset or expense. So for that, we need to make an adjustment at the end accounting periods to find the actual expense should be recorded in income statements. So for the purpose of adjustments, there are two methods how you want to record. First, it will debit expense, credit prepaid expense, or second, debit prepaid expense, credit expense. So this adjustment is depend how we record during the transactions occur. Now we look at for the first example. On the 4th October, Pioneer Advertising paid RM600 for 1 year fire insurance policy. Coverage began on October 1st. Pioneer recorded the payment as an asset of prepaid insurance. This account shows a balance RM600 in the trial balance as at 31st December 2020. Show the journal entry to record the adjustment. So, as the question stated, the payment was recorded as an asset. So, at the trial balance, it should be appeared as prepaid insurance debit RM600. So now, what you're going to do is we want to find how much the actual expense should be recorded during the adjustment. As the question stated, the company had paid RM600 for insurance covering for 1 year policy begin at 1st October 2020 and the 4th accounting period will be ended as at 31st December 2020. It means that only 3 months the insurance will cover for the current accounting period. So how much the insurance expense will be recorded since only 3 months insurance covered for the current accounting period? As we noticed that the insurance policy for the 1 year is RM600 already paid by the company. So for the each month, the insurance expense will be RM50. On the 3 month covered, so the actual insurance should be RM150. So, how you want to generalize to record this adjustment? First, we need to recognize expense. As we notice expense is debit, we need to place insurance expense at debit sides. While for the assets that is prepaid insurance will be recorded at the credit sides, RM150. So, by these transactions or by these adjustments, the asset will be reduced by RM150. Which will be recorded at the balance sheet and current asset. Now, let's try for another example. We will use the same example, but for this time, we will change for the cash payment to insurance expense. So, for that purpose, the trial balance will show as expense, which is insurance expense RM600 at the debit side. So, we need to find how much for asset should be recorded during the adjustment. During the transaction on the 1st October, Pioneer recorded RM600 as insurance expense. The account closed as at 31st December 2020, means that on the 3 months the company should record it as expense. So, the insurance expense should be RM150. As recorded earlier, the insurance expense is RM600. But now, the actual insurance expense should be recorded only as RM150. So, what happened to the balance amount of insurance expense, that is RM450? Yes, this amount will bring forward to the next accounting period as prepaid insurance RM450. Let me make summarize. Total payment of insurance expense is RM100. That's already recorded as insurance expense. And the amount expired due time until 31st December is RM150. By this reason, what we're going to do now, we need to find how much for the insurance expense and how much for the prepaid insurance for the assets. As we have calculated, the insurance expense should be recorded as RM150, while prepaid insurance is RM450. So now, how you want to generalize? So the journal entry is on 31st December 2020. What we're going to do is we need to recognize asset, that is prepaid expenses. So at debit side, we record prepaid insurance RM450. While at the credit side, we will record the insurance expense for 150. So by these transactions, it will be made the expense reduced by 450. That's all for today. Thank you.